Today, you issued a threat against Hamas on Truth Social. What has changed?
And what was said? Go ahead.
You said that they continue keep killing innocents in Gaza, that if that continues, the United States will go after them.
I issued a strong statement. That's right.
But they used to be gangs, and now you're saying innocents. What made you think they're innocents now?
Well, I'm looking at what's happening, and that wasn't the deal that was made, and we'll see what happens. It's calmed down. It's a tough neighborhood. We know that. We have a commitment from them, and I assume they're going to honor that commitment. I hope they do. And I understand they brought back some additional bodies today. It's a rough deal when you think of it, right? Very rough. We have our hostages back completely. We were very lucky with that. But it's a tough situation. They brought back bodies today, as you probably know. But they also said they're going to behave. We're going to find out if they behave. If they behave, good. If they don't behave, we'll take care of it. Yeah, please.
Following up on that,
I didn't say you. Your CNN fake news. Go ahead.
You said in your post that if they kept killing people in Gaza, we would have no choice but to go in and kill them. So do you mean U.S. forces would go in and take out Hamas?
No, I didn't say who would go in, but somebody will go in. It's not going to be us. We won't have to. There are people very close, very nearby that will go in. They'll do the trick very easily, but under our auspices.
Could I follow up? You also posted about your call with President Putin today. You spoke about the meeting in Hungary with him. Do you have a timeline or a date set for when?
Yeah, I would say within 2 weeks or so. Pretty quick. Marco Rubio is going to be meeting with his counterpart, as you know, Lavrov, and they'll be meeting pretty soon. They're going to set up a time and a place very shortly. Maybe it's already set up. They've already spoken. And I thought it was a very good phone call. I thought very productive. But I'll be meeting with President Putin, and we'll make a determination. Tomorrow I'm meeting with President Zelensky, and I'll be telling him about the call. I mean, we have a problem. They don't get along too well, those two, and it's sometimes tough to have meetings, so we may do something where we're separate but equal. We'll meet and talk parties, but this is a terrible relationship the two of them have, and it's one of those things. I've seen things that nobody would believe, but this is one of them. So we're going to be meeting in Hungary. Viktor Orban is going to be hosting, and it's really something that's time, you know.
Right, but did President Putin try to dissuade you from selling Tomahawk missiles?
Well, of course. What do you think he's going to say? Please sell Tomahawks?
No, but did he give any
Is he
kind
going to say, please sell those Tomahawks? I really appreciate it. I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea. He really didn't like the idea. No, I said it that way. You have to be a little bit lighthearted sometimes, but no, he doesn't want Tomahawk. Tomahawk is a vicious weapon. It's a vicious, offensive, incredibly destructive weapon. Nobody wants Tomahawk shot at them.
Specifically ask you not to provide Tomahawks?
So, wouldn't anybody? I mean, it's been in the news. Who wouldn't do that? CNN. Who wouldn't do that? You know? Do you think he's going to say, "I'd love to have Tomahawk sent my way"? I don't think so. Maria, we have one of the great stars.
I'll take some questions. Sure. He just put out a truth statement. If you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to look at it. But I was just talking with the president and the Secretary of State and the Vice President, and it was a very good and productive call. It lasted more than 2 hours. There were various issues that were discussed. President Putin congratulated President Trump for solving the conflict in Israel and Gaza and bringing peace back to the Middle East. He also thanked the First Lady for her efforts to bring back children and save children in this brutal conflict. And the president feels like great progress was made on this call. They also agreed to have high-level senior staff meeting convened as early as next week, which will then be followed by a meeting very likely between President Trump and President Putin as well. They talked about Budapest as being a location for that. So as you all know, President Zelensky is coming to the White House tomorrow, so these discussions will continue. And frankly, I think the president deserves great credit. He literally just got off of a trip to the Middle East where historic peace and accomplishments, seeing the hostages return out of Gaza. These are major foreign policy accomplishments that so many people around the world thought could never be achieved. And so I think the president deserves a great deal of credit for doing that, coming home, dealing with so many domestic issues, and then again hopping on yet another call with President Putin and hosting President Zelensky again at the White House tomorrow to try to move the ball forward in peace and end this conflict in Russia and Ukraine. So that's where we are.
Caroline. Thank you. After their meeting in Alaska, the president was optimistic that he could get Zelensky and Putin together in a room. Does he still believe that he can get the two leaders together sometime soon?
I think he thinks it's possible, and he would, of course, love to see that happen. But right now, there were discussions and plans are now being made for the Russian side and our folks, led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, to meet, and then for President Putin and President Trump to perhaps meet again. But I don't think the president has closed the door on that at all, Mary.
Caroline. You said in Hungary possibly when?
Well, this call literally just happened, so we will provide you with more details as soon as we can, I promise.
Caroline, did Vladimir Putin commit to sitting down with President Trump and President Zelensky?
He committed to sitting down with President Trump, as President Trump's Truth Post put out for you.
And what did he say what it would take for him to be willing to sit down with Zelensky finally as well?
I don't want to get into that, but as I just said, the president and President Putin discussed meeting together in Budapest. And President Trump will talk about that opportunity with President Zelensky when he's here at the White House tomorrow.
Does Trump believe any conditions have changed to make a second meeting with Putin better, more successful than